Hi, it's Mitch from Pick Dogs. Hi, it's Mitch from PickDogs.com, and it is Sunday, May 21st, 2023. It was like May was crawling along, then all of a sudden it just jetted right past, We're almost a third of the way done with the Major League Baseball season. Can you believe that? That's how fast things are moving. Of course, we are in the NBA Conference Final round, and last night in LA, whew, gotta think, man. We'll have to ask Jay Briggs what he thinks about those balls rattling around inside the hoop and bouncing out, and what effect those had in the final game. I think they were the difference. Those threes that for the Lakers that were inside the hoop, rattled around and bounced out. There was probably 4 of them, and they were all at very, very key moments. I think those are what swung the game. Those balls drop, you got a whole different story. Just a whole different story. But anyways, we've got that. We got Major League Baseball. Gotta say, I don't know, if anyone's going to talk about this, but the Preakness pre-part I could see the Derby having a little bit, like maybe an hour ahead, and I mean, they're way ahead now in the Derby too. But the Preakness to go 3 or 4 hours of coverage on the Preakness, come on. I mean, this thing doesn't even deserve the 2 minutes of the race. I mean, let alone, 3 or 4 hours ahead. I mean, I tuned in at about 6:30 Eastern time, and there was still a half hour. It's like a 2 or 3 hour commercial. It's like watching a commercial for like 3 or 4 hours. It is the most painful thing. And it's like, I'll tell you what, watching that, it'll ruin your whole night. That's I don't know what's going on there. But anyway, speaking of ruining your whole night, we're bringing Bitler back. Brian, how's it going?
Oh, glad to be here on Sunday with you, Mitch. Definitely missed hanging out with the guys on the weekend.
Yeah, we're glad to have you back on the weekend show, and hopefully it's not a one and done for you here. But anyways, it's been so far through the baseball season, looks like you're doing fairly well there in baseball and NBA, and always tough out there. You're always hanging out on the leaderboards of most of the sports throughout the season, and here to talk about the NBA, of course. My team involved today, the Miami Heat. I know you love generally fading my teams on principle alone because I root for them, and that's okay. I'm used to it at this point in the game. But my Miami Heat, oh man, the doubters are out, and boy, just cashing as a dog. So you kind of have the. I know you're in a tough spot here because you like rooting against my teams, but at the same time, you also love fading public teams, and the Celtics are the Notre Dame of the NBA, right? So it's like. I mean, these are the the most public team. So, anyways, you want to?
Yeah, I gotta say when I tried to pick a game for today, I really tried to get myself on the Boston Celtics just so I could try to have it out with you. But to me, in my free play here, I just got to go with the Boston Celtics. Yeah, I'm the Boston Celtics. I got to go with the Miami Heat here. If you can't beat them, join them. And the numbers today look like Miami is the play. Too much love here for the Boston Celtics, who really didn't do anything through the first 2 games. I think Miami's got to come into this game with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, being a posted dog after how they've performed so far in the postseason. But really, I think it's going to come down to who holds the ball last. It wouldn't shock me if the Celtics pulled out a 1 or 2 point win. But I think with 3 to 3.5 in the pocket, I think you'll be good. The Heat are 9-2, last 11 overall, 4-0 on a Sunday, and 6-1 last 7 at home. I'm going to take the Miami Heat plus the points. Hopefully, I don't curse them since I haven't taken the Heat in quite a bit.
I'm going on the reverse alternate line here on the Heat. I think they absolutely slaughtered the Celtics in this one. The Heat undefeated at home during the playoffs this year. They've been an underdog in just about every single game throughout the playoffs, them and the Panthers both, and the Hurricanes in the NCAA tournament, which we remember, except for that first round game that they were just 1.5 point favorites over Drake of all teams. That was
I like Drake in that one.
Of course you did. But the thing is that the Heat have been underdogs in every game except for the 2 home games against the Knicks. That was the only games that they weren't actually 3 home games that they played against the Knicks, and they were favored in those games. They did not cover the spread as a favorite in Jay Briggs style in that last game against the Knicks. But outside of that, they've been winning outright as dogs. Now, the thing here about the points is that the Celtics are 0-100 in games decided by 5 points or less. I mean, they haven't won a close game where it calls on heart and guts and all those things that you want, will to win and, whatever like that. The Celtics are whooping up ass slappers, right? They're just, I mean, we've seen it here. They might grab a game. I don't see how it happened. I doubt it. I mean, that's just stupid talk. I mean, if they happen to grab a game, I mean, it's not going to come from their heart and their guts. It's going to come from the referees. I mean, that's really the only chance they have. But the Heat on the other side of it, and why, that Briggs hates them so much, is they don't cover because they play in a lot of tight games, very much the kings of the tight games. So it's like, I think either in this one it's Heat alternate line or Celtics alternate line, because Celtics do not win close games. They're going to win probably by a lot more than that. But
I mean, I can see Boston being up at halftime and Miami clawing its way back.
I think that this is the thump down. It's kind of like opening day in baseball. You don't want to be like the opponent on opening day. Opening day in the NFL. Well, this is opening day of the Eastern Conference Finals in Miami. I mean, this is basically playing opening day on the road against, a guy who has really owned you in Jimmy Bitler, who, I mean, Bam Adebayo, the last, during that interview after the game, I mean, he pretty much said it all. He's like, when they're like, oh, well, man, you guys don't seem to have the team that the Celtics have or whatever. He's like, yeah, we're missing two very good players. Because and we're still beating. And he's like, and then they say stuff like, he's saying stuff like, stuff that the guys never say. Nobody's picking us. You guys all pick the other team. He's all saying it. He's saying stuff like this. Usually they say, we don't listen to that stuff. Tom Brady, right? I never read that stuff.
I think a lot of people think the Boston Celtics are just going to take this game because they're down 2-0. But what we've seen from Boston so far, I wouldn't be too sure about it.
Well, they don't have the heart and the guts. The Heat just have the will to win. They have and I mean, aside from the will to win, I think that the coaching mismatch here it's ugly. But anyway,
yeah, the Heat have the best coach in the NBA by far.
So Brian's on the Heat here, and wow,
I might be jinxing them today because it's the first time
I don't think they can be jinxed. I think that this one is such a mismatch. That I
tried to get on Boston today. I just couldn't do it. So
I'll say it for you. That Jason Tatum is one pathetic, worthless piece of crap. I mean, he just sucks in the big games. I mean, he's one of these guys. It's kind of like the home run hitter that hits the home runs, like in the 7th
big
or 8th
shots
inning,
against the Sixers, though.
Pads his stats. Yeah, when they're up by 20. When they're up by 20, not in the last 2 minutes of a game that's back and forth. He's not hitting the shots. They lost those games.
Yeah.
They lost those games at home. So, I don't know. What are you selling today?
Well, I'm going to try to keep my $19 titanium streak going. I'm 24-12, 24-12-1 last 37. That's a 67% hit rate on that $19 best bet. And overall, last 281 $19 best bets at pickdogs.com. 165, 115, and 59% hit rate. So head on over to pickdogs.com. Get my Major League Baseball titanium play, just $19, or my 3-pack. It's my Pound Zone 3-pack that also includes my NHL best bet. So make sure you head on over to pickdogs.com and pick up the titanium.
All right, Brian. Well, thanks for joining us again. Hopefully we see you every weekend going forward. And,
Definitely, if my son doesn't have baseball, you can definitely count me in.
Well, we know you got a busy schedule. We appreciate you taking 8 minutes of your time for us.
Have a good one. I appreciate it.
Have a great day. Brian Bitler making his return to the morning show. We haven't done a show with Brian in a long time. You guys know that, even though we're on the same side today, you can pretty much take the other 51 appearances I'll have plus, and we'll be on the opposite side. I'll take the under on picks we agree on with Bitler any day of the week. Anyways, we got Al Ninos up next. Al, how's it going?
Going pretty good. How are you doing, Mitch?
I'm doing good. Is it I didn't see your picks from yesterday. Is your hot streak continuing?
No. The beard is coming off right after the show.
All right. Well, it happens. But all it means, maybe a new streak on the way. Very tough. This is a tough business. We've been doing this for a long time. I know you've been doing it for a while now at this point. And it's, it's just tough to keep it going. I mean, we see Jacob deGrom come out and throw a stinker once in a while. I mean, it's impossible in anything to really keep it going. The only guys that never lose are the guys on Twitter. I don't know. Or the people in our YouTube comments.
Until they do, and then they disappear and reincarnate.
The people in our YouTube comments have have to be zillionaires because they never lose, man. They knew it that, we suck and, they know everything. And I told you and thank me later. And,
Just
I don't
wish
know.
you got one of those picks before the games, huh?
Yeah,
Before the
that would
game
be
started.
awesome. The thing is that, I always look at this, that's just the minutia of the people that do watch on the YouTube comments. We have some great people in our YouTube comments too that tune in every day and watch all of our videos. But anyways, what do you got for everyone today?
Gonna be looking at some baseball now that I disagree with Bitler's NBA pick, but I mean, I actually do agree with him, but he just beat me to it. But we'll be looking at pretty good, an interesting matchup today between the Angels and the Twins. Series tied so far, and a pretty good pitching matchup today with Shohei Ohtani getting the start for the Angels. Pablo Lopez on the other side for the Twins. Two pitchers doing pretty well this season. Shohei Ohtani obviously had that amazing start. Got hit a little bit lately, but I still think he's the better option here. And, I think he does well enough against this lineup, who's been a little bit more on and off than the Angels. When the Twins decide to show up, they score those runs in bunches, but I just don't think they have that kind of offensive output against Ohtani. And on the other side, I think he gets enough run support, if not provided himself. Guy that can do it both ways. He can not only pitch, but he's great with the bat as well. And a guy that can win a ball game on his own just anytime he gets the start. So I love backing the Angels anytime we're getting a reasonable price. They are a little bit juicy today. You could go a little bit on the run line if you don't like laying all that juice. But again, at home, I'd be careful with it and go mostly money line here.
To me, when you have a pitcher like Ohtani, the thing I always worry about is, after he's out of the game, because all these hitters are used to seeing, this guy throwing the ball 8 million miles an hour, and then there's no one in the bullpen that's going to come out that's going to be better than him. I think the big thing for me is Pablo Lopez really isn't the pitcher that many people thought he was. I thought in Miami he was overrated, and most people know I love following the Marlins. But I thought Lopez was overrated, and I thought they fleeced the Twins in that trade, getting a rise from them for Lopez. And I mean, you can see the Marlins pitching staff, none the worse, for without Lopez. But I could see the Angels in this one. I think I like the first 5 innings, maybe even a little bit better.
Yeah, once these kind of pitchers have a great season, it's usually time to sell high because it's really hard to keep up these great numbers for them. These batters are just getting better every day. His ERA is a little bit elevated at 4, but his other numbers are pretty good. His strikeout rate's good. His walks a little bit concerning again, but it's been pretty okay. But again,
But I think when you're in that number 1 slot
yeah.
in the pitching rotation, you're up against the guys. That's what makes Kershaw, right? Throughout all those years is that he could battle the other guy and win that 1-0 game for you. He can win that 2-1 game for you. Allowing 2-3 runs, you can't do that. Then what you have is basically a glorified Zach Wheeler.
And that's where Ohtani separates himself from Kershaw. As much as I love Kershaw, again, if he doesn't get that one run from his teammates, he can usually give it to you himself. So you got to love that, and you just got to appreciate it while we got it.
All right. Well, what do you got for sale today at Pick Dogs?
Just 2 plays. Almost got there with the Heat, but again, I think it's a tougher match. I don't think it's as easy as it looks. I like the Heat, both with the points and the money line, but again, I'm just not counting the Celtics out that fast either, although I do think all the value is on the Heat. But just 2 plays in the MLB for me. This one also was close to being a third too, but you could check those out individually or get a long-term pass and get both plays and rest of my action.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you during the weekend next week as well.
All right, have a good one.
All right. That was Al Ninos. Up next is Rod Zawacky. I was going to bring Chris in, but I can't see him, which is weird. Anyways, Rod, how's it going? Another Panther win last night. Another pointing to the exit. Kachuk again. You would think maybe someone would, try and take this guy out or something, but they failed to do it. It's an interesting discussion. Once again, I'm now an NHL expert now that we got to the playoffs, so I'm actually watching games. So I thought that that each of the guys said that, it was a great goal, which it was, the game winner.
great goal.
It was a great goal. And,
Great
it was
goal.
just the whole play, the whole play that the three passes and, and there's nothing you can do about it. And there's less you can do about it when your defender doesn't have a stick. I think that's
he went to poke the check. He went to poke the puck and got caught in his own guy's skate. And they all did one of these and fell down. And next thing you know, too late, game over. It was like that quick. It was like, great game though. Man, has this been a war?
Yeah.
If Bobrovsky is not the head for winning the Conn Smythe in these playoffs right now, then you're not watching these hockey games, because he held the Panthers in there in that first period when they just got barraged, because they came in and Carolina went absolutely bananas. Came in, it was just like shot. It was 10-1 in shots in the first 4 minutes. I was like, holy man.
It's going to be the same again
again.
It's going to be the same this time as well. I'm not sure what city the Panthers stadium is actually in. It's like near Fort Lauderdale actually these days, but
Man.
it's it might be in Sunrise or something. But the thing is that I think the Hurricane have no choice but to, they gotta get to they gotta get it. They haven't been able to get a 2-goal lead on the Panthers.
A 2-goal lead. Yeah.
And that's what it's going to take. You have to get, when the Leafs beat the Panthers, they got the 2-goal lead on them. They eventually got it. It took a while, but they got it on them.
It took a while.
That was the one game that they got there, But outside of that, the Panthers, a 1-goal lead, you're dead.
You're in trouble. Yeah,
you're in big
You're
trouble.
just waiting for the Panthers to tie it up and send it to OT and whoop you for their one of the 8 straight wins in OT. Oof. It's can't get that 2-goal lead. It's like when I thought they got the 2-goal lead, it was like, no, offside. I was like, you could see it was offside. I agree. Both goals were definitely came back.
How about the way Tkachuk's handled himself here on these interviews? Kind of just like another day at the office, really not a big deal. And, he just doesn't even seem that excited about it. When they ask him about it, these goals and stuff and everything about it, he kind of just changes the subject and it's just like, whatever. It's like, I'm playing the game and that's part of it, is to try and score a goal. And I did it, but he doesn't even acknowledge that even happened. It's kind of just an odd thing. And, said, yeah, my parents are watching the game at my house. They're at my house watching the game. It's like Gretzky's like, I bet they got some beers and burgers going watching the game. And it was interesting, Gretzky once again talking about like how it, and I think as fans, we're in that same group. He's like, the families and everything else that is involved in this process. But it's like, as fans, especially when it's a team where you've had, years of suffering, that go along with it. I mean, that's usually, like I can imagine when the Leafs win, it'll be like when the Cubs won, and it was just like this giant gorilla off their back, where it's like, we don't have to listen to, we haven't won the World Series since ever,
It's been a long time though. I don't know when that's ever going to happen.
The
rumors flying that Minchie's going over this way and they're going to bust it up. They've already fired Dubas there, so
I have a feeling the changes are just starting there in Toronto.
Are just starting there.
They're just starting. Yeah.
But Tkachuk, he doesn't want the big attention. It's a team game, and that team is focused right now, and so that's why he deflects. He's like,
I've never seen this, like pointing to the exit, like he scores the goal and he just happens to be right by the door. He pushes the door open and just walks right off.
It just walks right out. Yeah, he did it the first time. I think it just came into his head. He was like, let's do this. Let's get out of here. Time to go. So then the next time he was just like, hey, we're done. Open the door.
Yep, that's exactly what he did. And he did shake hands with all of his teammates, but he did it in the tunnel.
In the tunnel, he's like, good game, good game.
Yeah,
down the tunnel, it was awesome.
Yeah, definitely a different way than what we've seen in the past. So it was fun, and that's like,
definitely.
I think
makes it exciting. It makes it exciting to watch hockey. As a hockey fan, I've been enjoying these games.
I thought last night's game between the Panthers and the Hurricane was way better than the first game. I thought it was way
better than the first game, right?
Way better than the first game.
And how did it get better than that? It was like, wow.
And I thought the overtime ending quickly like that was way better than the 4 overtimes.
Yeah, we don't need 4 overtimes. Yeah.
You know,
Unless
it
somebody
was
wins in
way
that first
better.
overtime, and then yeah.
It was just a great play, and it was just like you heard them say it's like even before he took the shot, the Panthers were already climbing over the wall. They knew it was a goal. You know, before he ever even took the shot, it was like they already were celebrating the game. You know,
they knew. You could see it. You could just see it coming. It was just like tick tack toe, boop, no chance, game over.
Yeah, it's about as good as it gets. That's like what I'm gonna guess. You know, I never played hockey or anything like that, but I'm gonna guess that's a play that coaches just dream of. You know, like
Oh yeah.
You know, 3 passes.
You couldn't have written it up any
And
better.
the goalie just sitting there, you know, sprawled out like this, just defenseless, you know?
Defenseless, yeah.
So. Yeah. Well, anyways, we're going to change course here. What are you going to talk about with us today?
And today we're going to go to the MLB. We're going to go to the Cubs taking on Taijuan Walker here, and the Phillies. Steele's going to get the start for the Cubs, and you know his last few starts, he's definitely looked shaky from what he started off the season at. He's 2-1 in his last 3 with a 4.2. His last 3. Tyler gets the start for the Phillies. He's got 1 win, 6.4 ERA. Well, and what do we look at the Cubs?
It's freezing up here. Anyways, maybe we come back. All right, maybe we come back to Rod. Anyways, we'll bring in our next. We'll go up Rod A and Rod B. Chris, how's it going?
Hey, easy. It's going okay. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, thanks. Welcome back to the show after yesterday missing, but that happens. Filled in for me last week, so more than okay. What do you think of the hockey game last night?
Yeah, it was a lot of defense, a lot of goaltending. I think that was kind of what we were expecting to see, or at least I was expecting to see. You know, tired legs after playing essentially two
all that, but I thought it was a fast moving game.
It was, but I just think that, you know, when you have that much gameplay in one game and you got to play on only 1 day's rest, it still leaves a little bit to be desired. You still got to get the juice back in the legs. You got to get some rest, and yeah, it was fast paced, but the shots weren't, I feel, as quality as we've seen in the playoffs for the most part.
All right, well, we got Rod is back. Let me bring him back, and we'll come back to you.
All right, I'll be here.
Rod, you're Taijuan Walker.
I was a Taijuan Walker. Okay, Taijuan Walker 1-0 in his last 3. Only 1 win, 2 no decisions for him there with a 5.68 ERA over his last 3. And what did we see in the first 2 meetings of this series? 26 runs, a lot of running around the bases. We're going to get the Cubs 11-1 to the over in their last 12 games, 8-0 to the over in their last 8 on the road. Well, the Phillies 5-0 to the over in their last 5 versus the NL Central. And you look head to head, 6-1 to that over the last 7 in Philly, 12-5 in the last 17 meetings between these 2 teams. Only 1 way to go. Continue to see runs early and often as they continue to run around the bases. Take the over. Cubs, Phillies.
Oops. With the inflection there. Always on the totals, the inflection. You don't hear the inflection on the regular straight picks. Always on the total. I see Ruffolo laughing in the background there. I'm with you. Taijuan Walker, normally great first half guy, but I think he's just not a good half of anything guy anymore. And Steele just seems to be deteriorating a little bit as well. I could definitely see some runs in this one. The Cubs are 10-0 to the over in their last 10 games, so why not?
Why not, right? It's like if it's not broke over 26 runs in the first 2 meetings. Ooh, I'm looking at today. They still could be playing tomorrow.
Well, what do you got going on at Pick Dogs today?
And over at Pick Dogs today, I got a mixed sport birdcage going. My top play in the MLB, NBA, and NHL. Scoop it up. 3 plays going today. Love those 3 plays. All in one package. Head on over, pick them up.
All right, Rod. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow morning for our Panther pregame show and the rest of the games as well. Have a great day.
Definitely have yourself a good day.
That was Rod Zawacky. Now we bring back Chris Ruffolo. Chris, how's it going this time?
Yeah, a little bit better. I was going to say not much has changed, but then you could also say I have a firm grasp of the obvious. But
you believe we're a third of the way through the baseball season already almost? I mean, it's flying, right?
It seems like just yesterday we were just doing our prep and we were kind of stumbling our way through the first couple videos of the year, and then
it's funny because we're still, we're almost a third of the way through, but we're not sick of baseball yet. Like in September, and like half the teams are eliminated, and it's like, I mean, we're seeing some minus 300 lines out there already. I think there's going to be minus 500, 600 by the time we get to September and October.
Yeah.
But it's like we're not quite sick of baseball yet, which is nice.
I'm waiting for the minus 450s on a guy like a Garrett Cole or a I was trying to think of somebody else that would probably.
Well, it's gonna be Framber. It's gonna be the Astros against the A's or something like that. Oh, how about DeGrom, Rangers, A's? I'm gonna put a minus 500 on it.
Is he good to come back this year? I haven't seen him.
He'll be back.
Really? Okay.
I believe so. I'm not sure.
Or like a Verlander if the Nationals flame out or something like that.
Not sure.
But
anyways, what do you got going on for us today?
Well, one pitcher I can tell you definitely not going to be a minus 450 is going to be Lance Lynn, and starting for the White Sox today against the Royals. And we saw Lance Lynn earlier this season get roughed up by the Royals to the tune of 7 runs. And I'm not saying the Royals are going to do that again here. There's not a great baseball team, but Lance Lynn has been getting himself into hot water pretty much all season long. I don't look for that to be any different here. On the other side, it looks to be potentially a bullpen game for the Kansas City Royals. It's either going to be, it looks like a bullpen game or maybe Brady Singer. But either way, I like for this game to get up and over the total. I think the Royals can finally find some offensive success against Lance Lynn to at least finish this series on a bit of a high note. And, even if the White Sox end up winning this game, they've been swinging a hot bat pretty much last week and a half. So I like for this game to get up and over the total of 9 runs in this one.
All right. Well, Lance Lynn certainly, he used to be the king of runners on base. Now he's the king of getting runners on base and letting them score.
Yeah. I think that's the long and short of it. I think one of my favorite lines from you always about Lance Lynn was that he was born with runners on base.
He was born with runners on base, and normally, second and third with less than 2 outs. But the thing is, now they're scoring, along with the guy who's up at the plate. Will Lance Lynn straighten this out? And I think Romanelli brought up an interesting point yesterday, when he gave out the White Sox as his pick, which, came through, was that for the American League Central teams, it's far from over. It's like everybody is still in it. The White Sox are less games out in their division than the Toronto Blue Jays are in the East.
Yeah.
So they're certainly in it. But same time, there's only, we're a third of the way in. So, you definitely want to get it cranking. Yeah, maybe another month to start to make a move. Definitely by the All-Star break, you need to be at least in touch, And, over 2 months, you certainly can do that, especially in a division where, nobody's over 500 except for the leaders, and they're barely over 500.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more parity in today's MLB across the divisions for the most part. I mean, you still have, the AL West where it's always been Houston for the most part, and the Braves and the Mets in the NL East. But I said the NL Central looks to be wide open. The AL Central looks to be wide open. The bulk of the divisions in Major League Baseball this season looks to be wide open. So I'm with you. You got to sort of stay the course, ride it out for the next few weeks, and then after the All-Star break, you really got to focus on making a move.
All right. What do you got for today, Pick Dogs?
Today, got a couple things on the board. Got my $19 NBA Slam Dunk. Also got an NHL Power Play on the board, and a rare 5-pack from you from Major League Baseball. Loving the baseball card today, so make sure you hop on some of that Pick Dogs or for maximum value. Jump on a long-term pass. Best way to go.
All right. Go Heat. We'll see you tomorrow. It's normal.
See you tomorrow.
We got Jay Briggs coming, the Heat hater. Bam Adebayo said in that interview, Jay Briggs never picks us. Jay, how's it going?
What's going on, man? What's going on?
Bam said it. He said Jay never picks us. You know, he said it.
He did, man. Hey, the Heat, they've been balling, man, but I still have some concerns about it.
Jason Tatum's gonna really be mad now. It's like you can be mad all you want, man. I mean,
Hey, man, I've so preference this coming into the playoffs. My finals was Lakers Celtics. It's looking real grim right now, but
well, it's if they had the consolation series, that you would nail it. That's called the close but no cigar. But I think I think what we saw last night in that Lakers Nuggets, and I said I was going to ask you about this, was there was some shots late in the game by the Lakers in the third and fourth quarter that rattled in and out of the rim, from 3-point land, that were difference makers. It was LeBron hitting shots like that, Lonnie Walker shots, Reeves, everybody. They were going in and out, Hachimura, everybody in and out, rattling around. And that's when the Nuggets were able to extend the lead, just getting twos on the other end. And then they hit a few threes because Caldwell Pope, really underestimated guy throughout his entire career. I always have liked this guy since his days at Georgia. I always felt Georgia probably paid a lot of money to get that guy there in the non-image licensing era. It's always weird, right, that Georgia has these guys like him and Edwards, and it's like, how do they end up at Georgia, right, before the image licensing days?
Right. It's kind of interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Georgia's not a basketball school.
It's way interesting. Because they weren't like guys that kind of, flew under the, oh, man, all of a sudden, oh, yeah, that guy's really good. No, these are top 10 players at high school.
Yep. I agree. It's very interesting that Georgia was able to pull off those guys.
But what'd you think last night with those balls? Was it just me saying that, or do you think?
Nah, I'm kind of.
What's the difference?
Yeah, it was the difference. I mean, the Lakers, they got some good looks. They just couldn't take advantage of it when time mattered most, man. This Nuggets team is serious. They've been doubted all season long. They were called a fake number one seed. I think a lot of people forget how hard they hooped in the beginning of the season. And for most of the second half of the year, they played a lot of meaningless basketball. And this is the first time in a while we've seen them all actually healthy. Murray, Michael Porter Jr., and the Lakers, man, they just like you said, the shots that they needed most just seemed to rim out on them last night. Down 3-0. When you're down 3-0, the team that's up is 149-0.
Whoa. Well, the Heat have a chance to do that to the Celtics today as well, and I think there's a strong possibility that's going to happen. But I think a lot of people are on the Celtics today, but even Bitler is on the Heat.
I know. I was surprised to see that.
Shocker. I mean, especially on the show, coming back, he would have loved to have stuck it. He would have loved to.
I thought Bitler was going to be with me.
And I like Carolina tomorrow. You got to throw that in. And the Giants today,
right.
He would have gotten the anti-Miami parlay,
Thought I was going to have Bitler with me on the Fade Mitch train today.
Well, there's a lot. I think there's a lot of people on the Fade Mitch train today on the Celtics.
I will say you've been cleaning up on that Heat money line all playoffs long, and I've been
my betting account is ready for a withdrawal. Because they only let you take out so much generally at one time, and they also only let you bet so much. So there's no reason to have all that money in there.
Yeah,
the Heat have been covering up a lot of my other games for me too.
It be like that sometimes, man. It does.
We'll take it,
Before I give my pick, did you watch the fight last night?
I did not see the fight because I'm telling you, the Preakness preview took it all out of me. I was just like, I was awake and asleep and awake and asleep. And then by the time the basketball game was over and then the hockey game, I was done. I know the fight hadn't started by then, but so
it was a really good one.
I heard there was a robbery.
I was just going to say that. In my opinion, it was a robbery. I think Lomachenko won that fight, man. And I don't think that the scores are even near as accurate as they should have been. And I'm not one that usually says that in boxing, man, but I loved what I seen from my guy Lomachenko yesterday against Haney.
I've been saying that about boxing forever, is that there's always another story to it and a reason for it. More than likely, I guess there's a rematch. if a fight is, goes like that. Usually it's because the guy who either wins or loses is having a contract trouble getting the fight that there should be because of the alphabet soup and all the, that other stuff, the promotional companies and all that other stuff. So what they do is they create a bad decision to have a rematch in a fight that they know they can make.
Yeah.
So it's like, that was like Pacquiao Bradley.
I don't think we're going to necessarily get a rematch in this one. I just think Haney is such a superstar, and the current state of boxing is everybody's undefeated, and you're pretty much worthless if you're not undefeated, that they kind of gave him his way because he's going to make the more money fighting a Tank, fighting a Shakur, fighting a Ryan with that undefeated than, Lomo stealing that win yesterday. That's my opinion only, but I really think Lomo, the scoring at least to me should have been way closer than it was, and that's I think.
Well, I'll definitely go back and rewatch it. That's for sure.
Yes, sir. Today, though, I'm gonna talk some baseball. Let's go to baseball.
All right.
I'm gonna talk my Texas Rangers today, man. In all honesty, they scared me today, man. Y'all know I love my Rangers, man, but one of my arch nemesis pitchers are on the mound today in Andrew Heaney. And it just seems like every time he's on the mound, man, like Chris likes to say, he gets a crook in his neck because the ball is flying out of the park. The Rockies, they have been smashed in this series by my Rangers. I was on them in the first 2 games, but I think today's game is going to be more competitive. And if I were to bet this game today, I would not have my money on the Rangers. I would probably look at maybe a Rockies money line, but I think the best play is probably, I rarely do this, but I'm going to grab the 1.5 with the Rockies in this one. I do think this could be a run game. And I think Heaney himself could keep the Rockies in this early. And I'm going to take a shot with Colorado on the money line and the plus 1.5 fading my Texas Rangers today.
Yeah, the Rockies have kind of been underestimated this season. They're not that bad, and it's they're like, they're not like a win this series type of team, but they are a not get swept type team.
Exactly, I agree with that.
Yeah, I'm looking at the alternate lines here on this Heat Celtics, and the -4 for the Heat, you're only getting 2-1 on your money. That's how light this is. I mean, that's basically, if considering the 3.5 that you're getting, and then another 4 on top of that. So you're basically laying an additional 7.5. And in relation, the first game Heat plus 6.5 was plus 300, and last game Heat plus 9 was plus 375. So, man, their books are really, really tight on this one.
Yeah,
they are not willing. They know that they're probably in trouble.
They've been paying out on that plus money line all playoffs with the Heat, man. All playoffs.
So the Rangers, back to the Rangers here. They're in first place in the division. They're playing some pretty solid baseball and, missing their 2 top players. I don't know what the status of DeGrom is or Seager.
Seager's back. He's in the lineup now.
Oh, so
he came back on, what's today? Sunday. He came back Friday.
Well, that explains a lot, for them. And I like them. I actually like them a little more now. And then,
but DeGrom, he should be, I think he's on the 15-day IL currently. He should be back fairly soon. Last thing I heard, I think probably, I would say about 15 days or maybe shorter than that because he's been on there for a minute. But I think he's on the way back. And I'm super excited about this Rangers team. I am, like you said, number 1 in the AL West right now. I'm pretty sure nobody saw that coming other than probably me, as the Astros are the defending World Series champions. But this Rangers team, they're young. We got some stars in Seager and Semien. Adolis is having an amazing season right now, probably the American League, MVP thus far, in my opinion. Adolis is having an amazing season. And like you said at the top, we're 1/3 through the season, and I think the Rangers have set themselves up in a pretty good position to at least be in the fight, in the mix, come postseason time at the end.
One thing about the Rangers that we've seen historically, they're not afraid to spend money. They have a ton of it, and it's like, even though they're not seen as one of those ton of money teams, they really are one of those ton of money teams. They have paid out record contracts more than any other team has done that, historically. And we know the Angels have some big contracts out there, but the Rangers, while Ohtani hasn't been really discussed, as far as the Rangers go, I wouldn't be shocked
I
at
wouldn't be
all.
shocked at all.
All if they were the team that signed him. I mean, this is the team that gave Alfonso Soriano $30 million a year. So they were basically just handing out checks to anybody. They paid A-Rod the $30 million. They were the first ones to do that. Yeah, these guys have no problem spending the big money. What's his name? Josh Hamilton with all the tats. He got the big money, man. It was like, oh my God. So
They like to pay it, man. Hopefully it brings us some success, man. Hopefully it brings us some success.
Well, there was a time not all that long ago that the Rangers were in the World Series 3 or 4 years.
Trust me. I'm a Rangers fan through and through. I remember we didn't win it though. We got Nelson Cruz and the St. Louis Cardinals. Those are dark memories, man. Yeah. As a Rangers baseball fan, but like I said, we're back in the mix, so hopefully we can do something this time.
All right. Well, what do you got going on at Pick Dogs today?
Yes, sir. I have 3 Major League Baseball plays for sale. I have them in a Major League Baseball 3-pack. You can get that 3-pack for $40. It includes my favorite play on the board in Major League Baseball as well, my play of the day. So $40 gets you all 3 of those plays, or you can get the MLB play individually. And I got my favorite play in the Heat Celtics game today. So you can scoop that up, $19.
All right. I haven't given out my pick today. I kind of agree with your Rockies there. I think the value is there, and I think you could even play them plus the 1.5 if you need to. But I like the Red Sox here against the Padres. So I just think, Kluber, Wacha, you have 2 reasonably bad pitchers, and I just think the Padres are a good fade these days, especially as a favorite. The Red Sox just 4-6 in their last 10, which looks terrible on paper until you look at the Padres, who are 2-8 in their last 10. I'm going to take the Red Sox as my pick. But thanks, everyone, for joining us. Appreciate everyone that tunes in every single week and every single day, and everyone that checks out all of our videos, smashing that like button, leaving your comments. And, of course, if you miss any portion of this show or any show, you can catch us on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Podcasts, iHeartRadio,
Odyssey, all
that, whatever, man. Wherever podcasts are found. I'm not a podcast listener too, but I'm a podcaster. This is Mitch for Jay. Thank you, guys. It's almost like halftime all over again. Have a great day, everyone.